Here I am going to describe a hypothetical learning curve for a normal student as per the expectation of syllabus makers. I was such a child. Maybe since you are reading this book, you too were such a child. Even though I will be writing in text, this is actually a curve of learning where the x-axis is time and the y-axis is the amount of learning. There would be many dimensions, four to be exact. The learning in languages could be resolved into four separate dimensions that we already know, namely listening, talking, reading, and writing. So, in this section, I will outline the progresses in the various four dimensions as the student progresses from primary level to secondary level, then college level, and then finally up to graduate level. My effort is incomplete because to draw such a curve with full accuracy would require much more research, both in terms of number of students as well as the depth of investigation for each student in terms of language. Yet, I believe that this is a starting point. This standard that I'm going to outline here can be used as a reference to gauge your own level of competency in English or any language. It can also help you gauge the competency of your students. I agree that there are many tests available in the market, some of which I already mentioned earlier, that measure language skills. However, their objective is to filter out those who would be unqualified to join a certain educational institution. The objective that I propose here is totally different. My objective is not to qualify or disqualify any student, but to help them recognize and accept their particular level in terms of language. Thus, they could be in grade 12, but their English level or even language level of any kind could be equivalent to grade 4 or less. However, the system from which such a student will be evaluated as per the four-brain learning approach will not judge them and condemn them. Instead, the students will feel safe to know that they have missed so many steps in the process of learning their language skills. Then the same system would provide them the means to fill the gaps. Most of the techniques I'll be covering below. It doesn't need to be a 3 hour long test. You don't need that long to help students identify their capacity in any subject. Again, this system and its questionnaires, courses, content, guidebooks are not created yet. This section is just the starting point, as I have mentioned earlier. So we will start with what it means to be at primary level in terms of language. So when a student reaches class 1, it means that he is able to understand the letters upon reading. He should be able to read out words, then short sentences by the time he is in grade 2. In terms of writing, he should be able to, again, write down letters and words. His sentences would be incomplete. However, he would know that there is a need of writing a pronoun and a verb. In class 1 and 2, the student would not be able to listen and understand properly. He would not have enough vocabulary. He would not have the ability to process what he's hearing because he doesn't have the mental frameworks needed yet. In terms of talking, they would be able to talk better than they write. They could express their feelings, although not perfectly. As they speak, the sentences would not be complete, but slowly they will gain confidence while talking because they would have learned how to read their textbooks out loud in the class. Feedback by the teacher is paramount in the learning curve of students of any age. Every feedback acts like a seed that is planted in the neural garden of the students. In my point of view, this is real quality education when the students get plenty of feedback in the learning process of any subject and especially languages. However, the process of giving and getting feedback is expensive and requires high level of skills from the part of the teachers, and that is the main reason it's expensive, because the student to teacher ratio in order to have a feedback culture would need to be very low. Then the high number of student teachers that are there should also be given further training and themselves continuous coaching in the process of the four brain learning approach, or any approach as long as it involves giving feedback. Such a feedback culture would require to keep the students in the educational institution longer. They would need to be exposed to various activities in order to act upon those feedbacks and be allowed to make mistakes so that they could get more feedbacks. On top of that, they should be able to pass the local educational exams. So that would be a pretty expensive educational institution. To my knowledge, I haven't seen any schools or college or university based on this principle of learning. That is the feedback culture. So coming back to the standard of a student in primary level, upon reaching class 3 and 4, the student should now be able to read quietly and yet understand. You should be able to recognize words that he doesn't understand. Then he should have the motivation and skills to look those words up in a dictionary, be it physical or online. Reading should be in full gusto by class 4. The student should be able to read abridged version of books. He should be able to summarize what he's read. Again, to reach that level, the teacher must pause as he reads and ask him regularly what he has understood and correct him. Then, in this process of correction, he will enhance his ability to understand line by line what he's reading. By then, he would have got some grasp of grammar. Just by reading a text, he would be able to infer whether it has already occurred or it is occurring or it has to be occurring in the future. In this way, he'd be familiar with tenses. His reading skills would improve dramatically, and he would understand the use of punctuations and paragraphs. I will urge you to recall how the pauses are used for the punctuation, because I mentioned it earlier. Along with the reading, his writing will also improve because now there is input, and at the same time, the teachers should expect output, because you would have got feedback on a word by word and line by line basis for what he has written. The student would now have a brain circuitry that can write grammatically correct English or any language. Now, because of the strong base in reading and writing, the student is now able to listen. To guarantee that it is now in grade 5 level, the teachers should make the students take dictations. Now, just nodding the head isn't enough. A student has got to prove that he's actually understanding. Then, in order to improve the talking, the student should be made to give presentations that will help him both in terms of confidence and add the motivation to enhance his speaking skills. That would be dependent on the amount of reading he had done and also how well he has been writing. In this way, the student by a class of 5 is able to listen, talk, read, and write simple sentences, short paragraphs, and even stories. There will be lots of mistakes in grammar and a lot of misunderstandings of the text, but it's okay.